Hey everybody, welcome back to my cutting mat. Now, today I want to do a DIY with you guys. Now, this is something I kind of came up with. I was on Amazon on Father's Day looking for gifts for my husband, and he is super into collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards. He has a ton of them. Here is just some of them. There's books, there's packs, there's boosters, there's you name it, he's got, well, I mean, there's a ton more out there than what he has. But he has a big bag. And he's done binders, but they fill up quick, and still he's got a ton of loose ones. So I was looking at getting him a box that he could sort the cards into. And I seen some on Amazon, they're like $50 some. So I decided to try to make my own. So this is just kind of like a rough draft. So see, it opens up and you can put your cards inside. For some reason I have a little, like I said, I've got to fix them a little bit. So I thought I'd bring you along today while I try to make my husband a new, little bit more perfected, like I said, because they probably just need to be trimmed down a bit to fit in perfectly. But like I said, they're big, they hold a lot of cards. You can put different size cards in them. Now, that's something, first things first to talk about is what kind of cards are you doing this for? You've got all different styles, and it depends on what card you're doing. For example, a Pokemon card is actually bigger than a Yu-Gi-Oh card, just by a little bit. But maybe I'm dusty too. But what I decided to do is go with the biggest card I have. So Pokemon, I don't know if you can see that, but Pokemon is just slightly bigger than a Locan. Well, no, it's probably about the same. So I'm going to use a Pokemon card as my baseline though, just to be safe in case he ever wants to put other cards in them other than just Yu-Gi-Oh. So I'm going to set this one aside and I'm going to show you. So instead of spending my money on the case, I bought him this awesome Leonardo da Vinci flying machine Lego replica kind of thing, which is really awesome. Okay, sorry, now back to the project. Okay everybody, so for this DIY, I found these, like, it's kind of like, not Bristol, well I guess it's kind of like Bristol board. It's a foamy board. I found it at my local dollar store. It's $2 a sheet. You could probably also do this with cardboard or something of that sort. I like this because it's sturdier and it's like, well, mainly because it's sturdier and it holds up well. Like I said, I've used it for a few other projects in the past and it works well for me. Also, they have it in white. I went with black because I thought it'd be cute to, like, you could chalk or anything really to write like what your little tub is, like if this is Magic cards or Yu-Gi-Oh, or if it's Monsters or Magic or whatever. Okay, so the other things you will need is a surface to cut on, a template card if you want, a glue gun, glue sticks, a pencil, and you could use a ruler. I have this one. I'm going to give you the dimensions that I'm using also, so in case you don't, you just want to go with my dimensions. Also, I have this. Now you could use a regular knife or whatnot, but I have an X-Acto knife set, which I find very handy for cutting stuff like this. And like I said, we're just going to go, like I said, I have no real template other than my own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, so you could place your card, but the thing is, you have to go by the thickness of your material that you're using. So if you're using a thinner cardboard, you might want to use different dimensions than what I am going to be using. So if I put my card down, it is just over 3, but I need to have the space for the board. So I'm going to go 4, and when I put it here, it's just over 2. So I'm gonna go 3. So I'm gonna do 4 inches by 3 inches. So it's gonna be 4 inches tall, my first piece, by 3 inches long. So I'm just gonna draw in pencil, because pencil will erase, and I'm gonna line it up as best I can, because you wanna have it as straight as possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 up. It's 3 inches. 1, 2, 3. And like I said, these are sewing rulers. They come in handy for all kinds of projects, but you could use another normal ruler too. You could put your card, but at the same time you don't want to ruin your card, so this is probably your best bet, is to use a ruler. Now I'm going to get out my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut the shape out. With this stuff there is sometimes little, but hopefully with the glue gun, I didn't have much trouble with it on my other project. Like I said, I didn't sand, like you could probably sand down or use like a nail file or something to make your edges a little bit more precise and a little bit more finished, which I probably will do with this one, because I do want this one to be very nice. Now see, there's a little piece that came out, but that's okay. I will use that as probably a piece near the bottom or whatnot. Now, so this will be, when you're building these pieces, you're going to have a solid back piece and a front piece. Those are the same dimensions. So this piece, you'll cut out 2 for every little box that you want. I'm going to make the same as the one I showed you earlier. So it's going to be 6 boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go now and cut out all the ones I need of this. So I will need 12 of these. So I'm going to get cutting and I'll be right back. I'm just going to repeat that. So I'm just going to either use this one as my template now or keep going with the ruler. Draw them, cut them, draw them, cut them. So I'm going to go do that and I will be right back with you. Okay, so we're back. I have all 12 here. So we're going to take half. 4, 5, 6. 6 will be our back of the drawer and 6 will be the front. Now, you could leave them solid and put like a little button or something, or you can carve out the little like pulley thing, like so you can reach it and pull. You could do however you like, really. I'm gonna take my time and kind of like draw. Like I said, I'm just freehanding this. You could literally do anything you like, really. I'm gonna leave a bit of an edge here so that it's a bit more sturdy. You could do it thinner, but it might not last as long. And then, like I said, you're just gonna cut. With the X-Acto knife, I find to make it not do the bubbling as much, you just take your time, push in, push slowly, pull slowly. It's all about taking your time, having patience with it. But like I said, it's a fairly easy project to do, and it saves you quite a bit. And you could customize this. You could do, like I said, any height you want. You could, like I'm just doing mine 2 high, but you could do it 3 high, 4 high. You could go longer than 3 wide. You can just have fun with it. So then, now that I have one cut like that, I will just put it down, put the one on top, use my pencil to make sure I get matching shape. So I'm gonna go cut the rest of these out and I'll be right back with you again. Okay, so now I've got them all cut. They're all pretty uniform, which I like. So the next part we're gonna do is we're gonna do the sides. and then we'll do the bottom after. So for the sides, because as you can see in this demo, the top and the bottom will sit, the bottom piece will actually overshoot these ones. So whatever's in the middle will be the length of the box. I am gonna go with about 7 inches. So I'm gonna go 7 inches long, and I'm gonna keep with the 4 inches. So I'm gonna go line up. I'm gonna do 7 inches by 4 inches because these are 4 inches tall, and they're gonna all sit on the bottom piece. So I don't need to add any height to these ones. I'm just gonna line this up perfect. Now it's the same as the other one. You just make sure you get one that's really good with, now you could draw them all out or cut one and then use it to trace, which is what I like to do. So I'm going to trace this one out. I'm going to cut this one out. So now I am going to need 12 of these in total. So I am going to go along and cut all 12 of these, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've got them all cut here, so that's all the sides. So I'm going to set those aside. Now for the little box, the last part we need for these is the bottom. Now the bottom, you have to make sure that you leave enough overage for a side to fit plus the front and the back. So what I'm going to do is, now you can keep it the same size, so as a 3. So I'm going to do a 3, and then it's going to be a 7.5. So my block is going to be 3 inches. This stuff does make a lot of little mess flies. So we want it to be a 3, and it's going to be a, let's do it. 7.5. 1, 2, 3, and 7.5. I know it's upside down, but so then those are gonna sit like that. And as you can see, your card will still fit no problem in the middle. So 3 and 7.5. So I'm going to cut out 6 of these, so that'll be the bottom. So I'm going to get to cutting, and I will come back once those are all cut, and then we'll start gluing those together before we make the whole base that'll hold them. Okay everybody, so now we have all the pieces we need to make the small boxes. So what we're going to do is take a bottom piece. Like I said, they're not always 100% perfect. We might be able to go over them afterwards. I'm going to start with the front for mine. So you're going to just line it up. You're going to get your hot glue gun nice and hot. You're going to put your glue. Sorry. You're going to put your glue on the bottom. And you're going to put it right as flush with the front as you can, and as even as possible. You're going to hold it for a couple seconds or whatnot to make sure that it's staying there. Then you're going to take your sides. You're going to put glue down You're going to put glue down one side and along the bottom. So you're going to go down this side. And with hot glue, you kind of want to work semi-fast because it does dry fairly quick. And you're going to push it into your front piece, trying to make it as flush with the bottom and the front as possible. Now don't worry if you've got little mistakes or little gaps. It's hard to be 100% perfect, especially when it's your first time. Like I said, this is my second, but I'm sure I'll still come across some mistakes. Now I'm going to do the same with this one. So going down the one side. Just do the one side for now, and down the bottom. And then you're gonna put it on and try to make it match up the best you can. There. So now all we need to do is add the back. In the back you're gonna do, see like here how I have a little chunk missing? Well, I'm just gonna put that on the inside so you don't even notice the chunk missing. Now you could glue there, or you could put your glue on here. I'm gonna put my glue on here. So you're gonna do the two sides and directly on the bottom. And then you're gonna put it and line it up really good. Push, let your glue set. And there you have it. You have your first little box. You can test it to make sure your cards fit. Look, they fit with a little extra room. A little tight maybe in the back, but you can adjust that while it's still setting if you test it with your card. There we go. So, I'm going to put your cards in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and glue all my other ones so they're all at the ready, and I'll be right back with you. So everyone, as you can see, I've got them all glued together now. So our next step is going to be making the case that holds them all. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure what they are when they're tight together. You're going to want a little bit of room in between them though. And you also got to leave room for the thickness of the board. So what I'm going to do is, it's roughly 8.5, so I'm going to go with 10. So 10 inches, and then lengthwise, I'm going to go with, I want to leave a little bit for the backing, and that means I'm going to go with 8. So I'm going to do a 10 by 8 inch square. I'm going to need 2 of these for the top and the bottom. There will be a center shelf, but we're not going to need, it's going to be not near as big. Well, not, it's just going to be slightly smaller. So, let's get cutting, drawing a 10 by 8. So, we want it to be 10. So this will be 10. Oops, sorry. We'll put our 10, and then we want it to be 8 inches tall. I'm going to cut 2 of it for the top and the bottom, and then I'll be right back with you and we'll talk about the sides. Okay. So we've got the bottom and the top now made. So we're going to work on the sides. So in order to figure out the measurements we need, we've got to put the bottom then one of the drawers, and then we're gonna need a shelf to sit the drawers on. And since we haven't made it yet, I'm just gonna use a piece of extra board that I have, and it's just a little chunk. You can use anything, just so you have that measurement. So we're gonna line it all up so we get it right, and put the top back on so we know. Okay. So now I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to see that it's about 9.5 inches tall. But of course we're going to want to leave a little bit of a gap, because you don't want the drawers to be sitting 100% right on the shelf. You want a little bit of gap between them. So we're going to go with 9 3/4 inches for our sides. That way it gives us a bit of wiggle room, so that there's room for the drawers and the shelf and everything else. And we see here it's about an 8. Okay, everybody, so now I haven't glued it yet, but we have the sides. So we want to cut the middle shelf. So in order to figure out what size we need, we are going to put our ruler on the inside, and it looks like it's gonna be 9 3/4. See, 9 3/4, and then we're gonna go down the side, but we're gonna leave room at the back. Like, let me put this here as a rough idea how thick the back should be. Whoop. Oops, sorry about that. So we're going to put a board here. It doesn't want to stand up. There. Ah! Okay. So we can roughly see too. There. We know. Honestly, we just do the length of the shelves. So they're about, I'd say it's about 7.5. 7.5 will leave room. You could do a little bit over 7.5 if we wanted to. So we're gonna cut a 7.5. A 7.5 by a 9 3/4. So I'm gonna get to cutting it. So 9 3/4, 7.5, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, everybody. So this is the back. I haven't glued anything yet. There's the shelf inside. So now we want to make a back so that they can't fall out the back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure, and it goes to the little line right here. So this one, you're gonna want to be pretty precise. So it's 9.5 and a little bit. Now up here, if we're doing it and we're gonna go with the right height, oops, we want to go the, sorry about that. We want to go the right height, so we're just, as you can see, just at that bigger line before the 10. So 9 3/4 for length, and then width. So I'm gonna draw that out and cut it, and then we'll be back to start gluing it all together. Okay, so here we are. I've got them laid out. So this is the bottom, this is the top, the sides, the back. I have the shelf over to the side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our glue gun ready, and I'm gonna go with gluing on the sides first. So we put glue just on the bottom, and we try to line it up so it's just right on the edge, and we hold it for a bit. I know it's a process, but it usually doesn't take too long for hot glue to dry. Like, look, it's already holding it up pretty well, which is fine. While it's doing that one, we're gonna hot glue gun the base of the next side. Like I said, try your best to make sure you get it so that it's right on. Right on the edge. Hold it so it's solid for a couple. Doesn't take long, like I said, at all. Now I'm gonna do. My fan is blowing, so it's making it a little wobbly. We can do. I think I'll do. Like I said, this is kind of a make along with me situation. I think we'll do the center. So in order to know where the center shelf goes, what I'm gonna do, sorry I don't have the greatest angle of this, is I'm gonna put the three of the drawers in. Like that. And then I'm gonna put the shelf. I'm gonna put one on top to make sure. You know, to make sure you don't go too high, but we can go up enough because there's just room. So we want to make sure that it's level. So my recommendation is maybe a book. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got a book. You should try to aim for a slimmer book. You don't want a big gap, but this works good. You put it towards the front and make sure it's nice and level. Now I'm going to get some glue and get glue onto the two sides. There we go. Get some more glue on this side. Be careful. Make sure you don't burn your fingers. These hot glue guns can get really hot. You can get colder glue guns, but this one works good for me. It's been through a lot with me. So then we're going to slide in. You can pull back a little bit to make sure the glue doesn't hit the sides. But as you can see, I did get some glue. We're going to line it up with the front. You want it to leave a gap at the back. And like I said, you see I've got some glue on here. So all you can do is like get a napkin and wipe it. But honestly, you can also just like peel it off. Here as you can see, I'm using a napkin. But it does dry fairly quick. And it really just peels right off once it's been glued on. So just take your time. Like I said, the best way is to bend the sides a bit when you're putting it in so they don't touch. But if it happens, don't worry. You are able to get this glue off. And look, they pull out no problem. There's a good little gap. And if I put the ones on top, there's also a gap. Well, there'll be a gap once I put the top shelf on. So this is going to work out really good. Okay, so now we're going to glue our top on. I'm just going to put the glue. Now this will take a few glue sticks for sure. Oh, of course it all depends on your glue gun too. So I'm just going to put some glue across the top. Adjust your glue sticks. Put the top on, making sure we keep it to the front as much as we can, and making sure we fill it in so it all lines up. Put a bit of weight on it till we know it's glued. pull the little bins to the front, and now we just need to add the back on now. So the back, we're gonna see, it should fit in like a glove there. So now what we're gonna do is we gotta run glue all along it though. So I'm gonna glue it itself. You could also glue inside and just stick it in, which might be the smarter method. You can see the hot glue gun can get pretty hot. You want to make sure you don't get any glue on yourself because it does burn quite a bit. Make sure I have a gap. Okay, and then we fit it in. Push, 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 so it sits. And there we go. As you can see, that's the back. We got the sides, the top, and this is our shock unit. Now, like I said, you could do a lot to it, but everything moves smoothly. There's a bit of space in between. I mean, you could theoretically, if you want it, add boards in between so they don't mix up at all, but I find this really good. So okay guys, so this is the finished product. I left my edges like this. You could do tape. I worried about doing duct tape because what if like the tape catches on the cards or something. I did try over on this. I did try a piece of washi tape, but I literally had to glue it on with Elmer's glue, and it's a process, so maybe I will eventually go along them all with that. But look, because I used the black one, you probably do it the white too, I was able to use chalk, so you could literally just wipe them off if you wanted to change what they are. And as you can see, I'll sit you on my tripod. As you can see, you can literally just open them up and they'll hold quite a bit of cards. Like, the box is still going. So you can put your traps, your magic, your spells, your monster cards. Like I said, my husband has a lot more, so he's gonna take his time and sort them the way he wants. I was just doing it like this. Like I said, he probably will make one all just Yu-Gi-Oh, and then maybe we'll use the other one for... I found these ones actually at the dollar store. I got my husband a while back the like big deck, but these are like a different style of one-piece cards, which I thought were really cool looking. I love the art to them. And like I said, they'll hold every type of card pretty much. I didn't have any, well, I have some magic somewhere to try, but I'm sure they're along the same lines. So yeah, so there you go. Like I said, you could use marker and stuff too, but like I said, with chalk, wipes right off if you want to change them up. And it's pretty solid. They come in and out easy. They're, like I said, they hold a ton. Right now they're laying down because I don't have them full, but you could also make like a little, you could take this and make a little square or something to fit in them to, if they're not full and you don't want them to lay down in the end. But like I said, my husband will have no problem filling these up with his cards. So I hope you enjoyed this DIY, and I hope you make some of your own. If you have any suggestions to improve, let me know. Like I said, the edging maybe is a little rough, but my husband doesn't mind it. And like I said, you could probably use a piece of duct tape, but I just worried about what if like the duct tape came off a bit and the cards got stuck to it. You don't want to ruin the cards, right? Or like I said, you could go along it with the washi tape, but like I said, you have to glue it on because the tape's not very sticky. At least the washi tape I picked up wasn't. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's all stuff you can make it with from the dollar store. Even the little X-Acto knife set that I used to cut it, they have a different version at the dollar store. I seen it there today. So I hope you enjoyed this and hope to see you in my next video.